So often, a customer choosing you or your competition comes down to how you say it, what you say, and having the right impact. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's webinar training. Welcome. Thanks for joining. I'm really excited about talking about sales, greatest hits, one liners. I've not talked on this topic before. It's fresh material, so to speak. Some of the things I'm going to be talking about are just first, I'm going to start with like a basic waterproofing outline, sales presentation. And then there's just going to be a lot of psychology behind the words that we talk about. And I do believe in like a soft sales technique. I don't believe in like a high pressure, you know, get the sale and then they cancel. That's no way to sell in today's world. So avoiding high pressure words, using questions to guide without pressure. Questions are so powerful, and then understanding more of the emotion versus the rational appeals, and just a whole lot more that I've thrown in here. So starting, I just want to like paint the framework. Oh, sorry, before I get into that, since biased opinion, I think there's some great content here. And if you're in sales or a sales owner, sales manager, we're such people of distraction, try to just shut down any kind of distractions, take some notes and try to apply this. Don't take notes just to take notes, but take notes so you can apply some of the stuff. I think there's some good content in here. In case you're wondering, like, who am I and why are you teaching about sales? You own a digital marketing agency. I'm confused. I wanted to offer some fresh content. I did own a waterproofing company in the Chicago area for 15 years. I have taught endless sales training sessions. I probably averaged, I don't know, six classes per year for a lot of years. And then shortly after I sold my business, I was approached by a few different companies asking for some coaching. And how that unraveled was, I felt humbled and honored, but I was sharing that with a colleague, and oddly, he said, "That's really odd because something similar happened to me." And so he was being pursued by some companies, and we kind of shared, who are these people? And so we decided to put on some workshops, and we've actually done that for over 10 years, two or three per year. And sometimes they're owner workshops, sometimes there's some basic sales training. And one of the things I've learned is that companies have really different approaches. A lot of times, an owner will send sales reps to the training. And that's interesting because the rep can apply whatever they want to apply. But it gets challenging to teach certain topics when every company is doing something different. But I really appreciated the opportunity to work with sales reps and to kind of try to get in their head and give them some things that I think are really going to help them. So I'm excited to share some of the learns that I have that I've gained. As far as a basic waterproofing outline, this is where I wanted to start so we have a decent framework. And I did want to unpack this. Maybe I'm just missing my sales training days, but I've kind of reduced it. Like I taught probably a 20-step, very sophisticated sales approach. And because everyone's coming from a different background, like it doesn't make any sense. I'm just kind of giving you like the basics of what pretty much every single company out there does, but I just want to frame a reference. And as I go through this, I am going to point out some areas that I've seen people struggle with. And I'm still going to fight people on it because I'm a big fan of it. It's been really enjoyable to come back to a training session when I've already worked with people, sometimes, several times. And I really like to know who's applying what. It's really important to me. And then I figure out, did they have success or did they not apply it at all? And if they didn't, why not? Did they not believe in it? Did they run into an obstacle and so on? So anyway, the warm up, you're knocking on the door, you open the door, there's the warm up. We all do it. You have to introduce yourself. It's not rocket science. What you do at the warm up, though, can be very important. There's a saying, how you start is how you finish. A good warm up will usually lead to the kitchen table, where I'm a strong believer in doing a questionnaire before you go into the basement. Now, we all know maybe half the people that know you're coming, you're here to inspect the basement. They'll say, come on downstairs, or worse yet, oh, it's downstairs. You take a look at it and let me know. Let me know what you think and how much it costs to fix. I don't believe in doing that. I believe in like that you need to gently gain control of that situation. And the scenario I like to talk about is We all go to the doctor on occasion. When you go to the doctor, what do? You check in with the reception. They should be expecting you. They hand you the clipboard. They say, great, have a seat, fill this out, let us know when you're finished. It's kind of a check in, it's a questionnaire. They get all the background information. What happens next? This part's always comical for me. There's like one or two people in the room and they open a door and they scream your name out as if there's 100 people. I still always get startled. I don't know why, but I do. Then you go back, sometimes you hand them the clipboard and then they sit you down and there's like the nurse or the assistant asking you a bunch of questions again, or reviewing that or taking your blood pressure, whatever, that kind of prep stuff. Boy, those doctors are really set up for like the big cheese to come in and to hopefully they've reviewed your chart and they get right to the issue and they're using their time. But I like that doctor analogy because they collect so much information. And I really think you're going to serve your customers better by doing that questionnaire beforehand. So often you can learn things like how they discovered the problem and who uses the basement and how aware they are of things at this stage. How much are you going to have to educate? Sometimes you find out how many estimates they've already had and so on. I'm a big believer in using that warm up, trying to get to the kitchen table. And then another area that I see a lot of people struggle with is the inspection. And I think we need to work harder at getting the homeowners in the basement to do the inspection. So when you could find that those damages, the mold, the dry rot, the rust, the bugs, indoor air quality issues on top of the water and cracks that they've already admitted to, that's where things become alive in the presentation when you find things together. So I think you're going to have a much more effective presentation when one, you get to the kitchen table, and two, you get both homeowners into the basement. All right. So that's just the bonus area there. Credentials. I'm a believer in just touching base on credentials. You want to avoid that question of, gee, we need to shop around a little bit and learn more about your company before we make a decision. Try to eliminate that. You also want to set yourselves apart. Being in marketing, I'm very opinionated about trying to set yourself apart from all the many waterproofers out there. Credentials is a great opportunity to do that. Construction, how a house is built, and some of the flaws that are inherent into what's commonly a 20 to 80-year-old home that you're inspecting, and the clay bowl effect. Review your inspection with the homeowner solutions, pricing, and close. And what I've learned, a lot of people have different closing techniques. Everyone will say is, oh yeah, our intent is to walk out of the home with an order, but we don't believe in the high pressure sales approach. And I think I don't think anyone does really. Now, yes, I understand there's a lot of companies out there that are kind of working hard to get the deal on that first close. They're just trained better and they have social awareness to keep those walls down. In fact, if a homeowner would ever just say, oh, I feel like you're pressuring me, those reps are like, whoa, I'm really sorry. We don't do business that way. I thought you were interested maybe in kind of doing some business, but I don't want to pressure you in any way. I really apologize. I'm going to leave you with this. If there's other questions I could help you with, but we don't do business that way. They'll just turn it around right there. But more importantly, there's some real social awareness on how to just educate. Sales is so much about helping people make decisions. And there's so much more than just presenting facts. We're complicated beings and there's a lot going on psychologically, emotionally. There's so many dynamics. And the more that you're aware, the more that you could be of help and build trust and confidence and help people overcome their fears and make a decision, the more effective you're going to be at sales. So anyway, I just want to kind of start with a general outline. And what I'm going to do from here is jump right into a whole bunch of like one-liner sales lines that I think are really effective. And I'd like to try to unpack some of the psychology behind them. One of my favorite sales lines is the phrase, what do you know about and fill in the blank? I like that because I'm a big believer in asking questions and making the sales presentation interactive. One common fault is sometimes sales reps tend to talk sort of at homeowners. So I like those kind of questions to preface your statements. There's two areas that I find this useful. What do you know about our company and our background and how we do things differently? That's a nice way to open that up. It plants a seed that you're different. And then it allows them to say, like, well, we read some reviews. Say, okay, thanks. I appreciate that. Embrace that. And now you're able to touch on your credentials. Another place it's really important to ask is just before you explain how a house is built or what many refer to as the clay bowl effect. What do you know about the clay bowl effect? Have you heard of that before? Or what do you know about how a house gets built and put together? Have you ever seen the process before? I found that to be very helpful to ask, especially if you're someone when you're pitching someone that's in the trades, because sometimes some people know just way more than you do. It's a way to get them to play their cards, and now you can use that situation to your advantage because now you could transition to and as you know, what happens is the builder comes in and digs a big hole and then pours the footer in the wall and the floor. Now you have a built-in crack, and so now you could use that to your advantage. But try to use that line, "What do you know about?" to create that safe space, ask the question, and make it more interactive. Another great sales one-liner is asking the question, how open-minded are you? This does a lot, actually. It's a great transition. It establishes that you're going to move to something else. And then it kind of forces the person to ask about themselves. Like, am I an open-minded person? Yeah. Well, I think 90% of the people would consider themselves open-minded. No one wants to be a closed-minded person. So it kind of draws the attention to themselves of like, yeah, I'm an open-minded person. And just that you say those words, it sort of creates some space for you to introduce a new idea. So I found that line to be effective in two different areas in a waterproofing presentation. One situation is when you're going to go into solutions, especially in the situation where they've already had two or three estimates. What we've seen homeowners do is once they've seen a couple presentations is they get very opinionated. They're like, we know this, we know the right way to do it. People have already told us. So if you have a little bit of a different way, it's helpful to ask that question just to kind of create some space so that they'd be open to what you have to say. The second situation where that could be very helpful to you is if the scenario opens itself up for an upsell. You could say, let me ask you something. How open-minded are you? Because I think I've thought of a solution here that really fits into our conversation and it might solve this situation. So just asking that question, how open-minded are you, is going to create some space. It's going to give you a good transition to the next topic. Give it a try. Here's another great sales one-liner. There's two types of people. Just saying there's two types of people, suddenly that mindset becomes more focused on which personality am I. The focus is away from all the details of the waterproofing and which system is best and all that stuff. But it's like, there's two types of people. Which one am I? Hey, I've been doing this a long time. Some people, they assess the situation, they take action, and they make a better future for themselves. I've seen other people say they're going to collect estimates. Maybe they do, maybe they don't, but they call us a year later. Typically, there's been more damage, the problem's worse, sometimes the price goes up. I don't know, folks, which camp do you put yourself in? There's two types of people. Give it a try. Certainly, we're seeing that sales is helping people make decisions. When you can understand the psychological and emotional side of sales, when you could create clarity and help people overcome their fears and concerns and see their bright future, boy, you're going to be a great sales rep. Here's another line. The way I see it, you have three options. Just saying the way I see it sort of creates some distance and you're looking objectively. And then when you say you have three options, that simplifies the decision-making process. It boils it down to three issues. It helps prevent paralysis analysis. We know when there's too much information, it leads to a no decision. So saying there's three options brings great clarity. Now, there's a couple different places you could use this. Having worked with many different companies, I know there's a lot of companies that just present one solution, like they're the doctor. Here's what I'm recommending. There's other companies out there that present like three different solutions. So they'll say option one, option two, and option three. and it's all in front of them, and the homeowner comes to their own conclusion and makes their own decisions. So certainly you could use it if you are selling in a way of here's your three solutions. Now, using it in a different way, the way I see it, you have three options. Of course, there is do nothing, the problem will get worse. There is collect a bunch of estimates forever, and they'll probably forget to take action or it won't be a priority anymore. Or take action now. You already said you like the company. Hopefully, you like me, you like the solution. Which one of you are you? You have three options. So try that line. The way I see it, you have three options. Clarify the issues. What's going to be easier for you? I love that line. I love helping homeowners think about what's easy. Or sometimes you could change that word to comfortable. What are you comfortable with? It's easier to make decisions if you know all you have to do is think about what's easier or what's more comfortable. So try to use that line, what's easy, what's comfortable. It puts the homeowner at ease. It helps the homeowner make a decision because their walls are down and they're thinking, cool, I just have to make a decision about what's easy for me. I want to try to walk you through a closing situation. I'll even slip in a technique that I think is very powerful. So typically when you put the price on the table and you're thinking like, cool, like I'm going to close, here's your price. And you've covered everything. You covered solutions, you covered the warranty, you covered everything. Here's your price and you're wanting to kind of go forward. Wh- What do you hear usually? What's like the normal knee jerk reaction? I got to think about it, right? Okay, cool. It's helpful to just give them that. Give them, okay, no problem. Totally understand. A lot of information. How much time do you need to think about that? 10 days good enough? Well, what happens there when you say 10 days, the husband and wife look at each other and they're like, yeah, cool. We don't have to make a decision right now. They're giving us 10 days. It creates that safe space for you to walk through and help them think through all the decisions that they have to make. So it makes it easier for them to make that decision. Now you could use that line, what's going to be easier for you several times. When you make your decision, how are you going to be paying for this? What's going to be easier to write a check or payments? Help them think through that. Okay. When you put a deposit down, what's going to be easier for you? A higher deposit with lower payments, or you just going to want to put most of it on payments? What's going to be easier for you to start next week or in 3 weeks? What's going to be easier? Just throw that word out there, put that word on the table, let it float around in the air, and allow the homeowner to feel your trust and confidence and guide them through that decision making process. So, what's going to be easier for you? Give it a try. Okay, here's the next one. I bet you're a bit like me in that, and then you need to fill in the blank there. So what that does is what you're trying to do is create some kind of an alliance there. And it's going to be different than basement waterproofing, but just make that observation about that person that aligns with what you've seen and what you see in yourself. And look for that head nod when you acknowledge, yeah, I read you. I get you. I bet you're a lot like me in that you probably do more than anyone else in the household, despite you working more hours. It's like, yeah, you want something done, that's me. So you're looking for that little bit of an alliance. What you will want to avoid is saying, I bet you're just like me. Use that word a bit like me. If a stranger says to me, especially a sales rep, oh, I bet you're just like me, that's too much. I'm like, dude, you don't know me. Yeah, I don't think so. Nice try. But if you say, I bet you're a bit like me, and then that you're able to identify something specific and then give an authentic example in your life and then look for that head nod, look for that alliance, give it a try. I bet you're a bit like me in that fill in the blank. Here's another great one liner in sales. How would you feel if, and fill in the blank? Sales is so much partly emotion and partly psychology and like rational, just truth. I think I've seen too many sales reps focus on talking about the thickness of the plastic or our drain tile holes are pointed this way and the rock size that we use is that. And these are all just kind of raw, dry facts, but there has to be some emotion involved, both a positive and negative, is really helpful. One negative would be, geez, while you're collecting estimates, how would you feel if we had another rain and a bunch of stuff downstairs got wrecked? How would that make you feel? Or you went on vacation and you have to worry about your basement getting wet again. How's that going to make you feel? On the positive side, gee, let me ask you, how's it going to make you feel if you have dry, usable basement? Now you can maybe put a workout room down there, or your kids can play downstairs and get all these toys downstairs, or you can have an office down there. How would that make you feel? So tying in that emotion and getting that out to the surface, both positive and negative, could really be a catalyst in helping people make decisions. Give it a try. How would you feel if? Here's another great one. It's as simple as this. Most people, it's just 10 letters, but it's really powerful. First, we humans feel safer in numbers. Just look at our own behavior. We all look things up on the internet weekly, maybe daily, and we look at reviews. And when there's a lot of reviews and they're real high, oh, well, most people feel comfortable with this product and they give it a good rating. I'm like most people. So we feel safer in numbers, and using the line, well, most people, it's really, really powerful. Where I've seen this most effective is when you're trying to close and you're trying to help them think through all the decisions they need to make before they make their decision. So when you say, how are you going to be paying for this? Cash or payments? If there's ever a pause, most people do payments. Let me offer you a couple payment plans and see what's easier for you. Why do you want to go to payments? Because it's easier to make a 3-number decision than it is a 5-number decision, right? With basement waterproofing, you're easily talking about $10,000 to $25,000 of a decision. Foundation repair, you're looking at, 40 to 60 easily. You always want to get to payments, and most people, if there's ever a pause, try to steer people. Most people are doing this. It's a really effective way to guide people in their decision. Now, here's the most basic one of all. What's the best number to contact you? If you have the opportunity to follow up with your appointments, which everyone should if they work at a company that allows sales reps to follow up with them, and you're not walking out the door with the order, you definitely need to be asking, what's the best number to contact you? And you should get that from both the husband and wife or the owners, whatever the situation is. Now, there's a good chance you have that if you work at a company where the sales rep calls the homeowner before the lead. Maybe you have their cell phone already, but it's good to ask that. Sometimes you get more information. And I like that question because it's assumptive, it's natural, it kind of says there's a volunteer commitment on their side because they're playing the game. They're confirming, yes, this is the best number to reach me at when you follow up, when I collect my estimates and make that decision. It kind of reinforces the relationship that there will be a relationship after you leave the home. So make sure to ask, what is the best number to contact you at? And the last one I have for you is a conditional statement. It's if, then. If I do this, then you get that. If you do this, then I could do this. Where can you use if then? Where does it fit quite naturally in the waterproofing sales presentation? When you're close to that price, when they're like, we like you, we like your company, this is too much money. Is there anything you could do with the price? Because we just can't afford this price. So you can hem and haw and scratch your head. And then you could say, if you'd be willing to do some of the initial work for us, maybe prepare your basement. This could be one of them. There's a lot of different ifs you could throw out there. You'd have to move everything away from the wall. This might work well for you because I didn't see that much stuff in your basement. If you'd be willing to be flexible with your schedule, then you're helping us and I could offer you a discount. I actually saw that in a magazine at a grocery store. It was Good Housekeeping, how to get a deal from a contractor, offer to be flexible with your schedule. So you could tie that in. If you'd be willing to be flexible with your schedule, you work at home, this could work really well. A lot of folks we work with, they're both out of the home, so we can't really move things around. So this could work really well for you. Then I could offer you a discount. So if then scenario, give that a try. The other if then is when we bought windows for our house, literally 20 years ago, it was a big national company, and I like to watch reps when they come into my home. The gentleman pulled out a letter from the CEO of the national company, and it said, due to our busyness and our schedules and the price of gas and the cost of rescheduling appointments, we're allowing homeowners a $500 discount on a first time visit. If you're able to make your decision tonight about these windows, we're able to give you a $500 discount based on an official letter from company letterhead. There's a lot of different if then scenarios you could use to help negotiate price, to help people think through that. Give it a try. If then. So there you have it. Now, from here, we know the key to apply things and to own them is you've got to use them. You've got to try them. So I want to encourage you at this stage of the game to write down 3 phrases that you thought, I could use that. I can give that a try. I could see where in my presentation that would fit right in. So if you write those down and maybe even put a little note card and put it in your car so that when you're going to the next appointments, you could try these and use them and figure out a way to have success with them. There's some really powerful lines in there. So I certainly hope that you have success, and I hope you found some useful lines in this training. If you're an owner of an if you're an owner of a basement waterproofing or foundation repair company, and you would like a free analysis where we can look at your online presence, and we subscribe to lots and lots of tools, and it gives us great visibility as far as what's going on and how things can be improved. We love to serve people that way. We're happy to do that for you. There is quite a bit of research that goes into that kind of a strategy session. Please let us know if we could be of help. And our contact information is here, 929-RAIN, 630 area code. Thank you for joining. I hope you found some